you so much for a fantastic presentation on really exciting work. And just wanted to have you spend a few minutes talking about or thinking about how would you explain why this is important for the general public? And let's give our AV guy just a minute or two so that we can transition this, and then I'll turn it over to you. How does that sound?
Good. Yeah, so to answer your first question, Stacey, why is this study important? I think what our study has shown is that not all vaccines work for all viruses. Of course, we were very confident that we could actually do this. And given our experience with chikungunya, we had also generated VLP vaccines against Geta and Mayaro virus. It was not a problem. And then we thought we could do it with Zika, and it turned out to be really difficult. And we had to go back and understand what was wrong with these particles. And for that, we needed the collaborations. I think that is also a take-home message that if things do not work, get help from others, steal their brains, and set up collaborations to move ahead.
Okay, Gorben, you showed also very nicely how such a project is really an international collaborative effort between different research institutes, and without it, it would never be possible. Can you, that's already indicating a little bit what that means internationally, but can you also say a little bit broader on a more personal scale what that means for family, friends, and public?
Yeah, so in this study, I worked mostly with people who I knew before from other projects, and of course everyone has its own favorite collaborators, but we also had to reach out to groups who we had not worked with that extensively before, and that worked out really well, and that has also led up to follow-up collaboration. So that has been really great also for other projects. What it means for family, friends, and public is I think that by talking about these studies, that we show that we as scientists actually care about real problems, that we're not only at academia to study things we find interesting, but that we also engage in problems in the world, and that we try to give our expertise, whatever we can give to society, and do good science, and help the science proceed. We did a similar thing in the COVID pandemic, as many other laboratories did, and I think that is really recognized also by the general public and family and friends.
Yeah, good point. And I see a lot of young people in the Q and answer sessions,
Yeah.
and they're asking all this, because how can we contact? How can we make? Yeah, they're clearly searching for networks, and maybe it's also good a little bit for those young people to tell them a bit about careers as a scientist and how you ended up in science.
Yeah, so my career has evolved from being an undergrad student to a grad student, postdoc, so the general thing. I never had to make difficult decisions. So sort of, I always flowed from one into another in a sort of natural way. But sometimes it is difficult if you have to make a choice in what direction you want to steer your career. In the end, there's not for everyone there is space for an academic career. I realize that, even though as a student, if you really like to be at a university, maybe there's no spot for you how to go about that. So you always need to have a plan B, I guess. If I think about myself, how I ended up as a professor at the university, it was also a bit of luck, I guess. When I was doing my postdoc with Alex Kromick, I was really into science. I really wanted to stay in science, but I had multiple options. I could as well have gone into industry, and I think when my wife and I moved back from Australia back to the Netherlands, all options were open, and we decided just to go for the jobs that were offered or were available. And it turned out that she went into industry, and I could pursue a career as an academic. But
Yeah.
flipping the coin differently, it could have been the reverse. And yeah, so you cannot always decide which direction you want to go. There's also luck involved, and
Yeah.
yeah.